Hey there guys, welcome back to another video on the channel. Hope you're all doing well and still staying safe. So today I'm going to go through things that I think every beginner guitarist and also just things that I think guitarists need in general outside of the guitar. Obviously you don't need anything else but a guitar and a pick or even just the guitar to start learning, but it's my sort of essentials for a beginner guitarist. So first, obviously, picks. Naturally, if you're a Spanish or classical guitarist, you won't be using picks. But obviously, if you are doing electric guitar or acoustic, then naturally sometimes you will be using a pick. I also recommend one of these. This is a Timber Tones tin. Just somewhere to keep your picks, because before I had this, I used to lose my picks all the time. And now with picks, there is no right or wrong answer either. So you should be using what feels most comfortable. So for example, for acoustic, I use these Dunlop USA 0.71mm thick picks. For electric, I use Dunlop Flow 0.88mm. This one's pretty worn, but they're normally a bit sharper than this, and they just glide across the strings lovely. And it gives me, for me, the perfect balance of having the rigidness for lead playing, but also a bit more flexibility for the rhythm playing. I also have used one of these as well, 1.5. I quite like this pick sometimes, depending on what I'm playing. So this is obviously the first thing. Picks, pick tin, somewhere to keep them, because you will lose them. I can just guarantee you'll lose picks. Don't expect to just have one pick for the rest of your life. I would be very impressed if you can do that. You're bound to lose them. Next up, one of these. It's a clip-on tuner. They're pretty cheap. This is an Anpro one. I have many of these. I have a little one, which is actually on my PRS. I just look for it there. It's on my PRS. And it just clips on the headstock small. There's so many different types. There's D'Addario. Pretty much all the brands who do guitar strings and guitar gear will offer these. Clip-on headstock tuner just lets you take it anywhere and be ready to be able to use it. They take these little watch batteries, very easy to maintain if they do run out of batteries, and they're basically fantastic. Next is a toolkit. I have mine here, this big silver thing. So I have in here a bunch of stuff, like I have old pick guards and all that sort of thing. But what really you need out of this kit, I recommend microfiber cleaning cloth. 2 of them actually. So one for lemon oil, one for guitar polish. Then a soldering iron. Mine is a weird sort of self-feeding one. You just sort of click, that's a bit bent there. So you just sort of click it up and it just pushes it there, so you don't have to hold the solder, you just click the solder. Very handy, I have to say. The reason for a soldering iron, especially for electrics, maybe not as much for acoustics, but sometimes if you are a bit vigorous with your jack port or you've done something, you may have to take the pick guard off or take the little piece off and then just solder it in back into place. It's a 2-second job, it's really quick, and you can save yourself a lot of money by doing little things like that yourself. Next up, strings, spare strings. Either single strings, I've got some single strings somewhere, I think they're in this box somewhere. Spare strings, because you're bound to snap one at some point. I use these for most of my guitars with fast fret, which for me is another big thing. I do have a can of it somewhere in here. There's a can of it somewhere. I use these and fast fret because it's actually cheaper than buying a set of elixirs than it is to buy these, string it up and then use fast fret all the time, which still feels like corded strings and keeps the strings vibrant for longer, because I seem to deteriorate the strings. So, pair of pliers for cutting string ends. You can either use these or you can get a winder with a clip on it. Next, this isn't essential, but it's very handy as well. So this is the Fine Fret Polishing Kit from Music Nomad. Just there. So this includes a bunch of stuff. So it has here the Fine Fret Polish, 3 different sizes of guards, and then a cloth as well for applying it. So what this stuff does is cleans your frets. You might find that when you got your new guitar, it feels a bit scratchy when you're bending, it feels a bit weird. When you change your strings, a bit of this, just scrub it on and you're really, really in the clear there. It just cleans it all right up and your frets will feel lovely. Guitar polish. This is Fender, you can get Dunlop, there's all sorts of brands of guitar polish. Any guitar polish will do you. Just depends on your personal preference and budget as to which one you've got. I got this one on a deal. I've not used it yet actually. I used to use Dunlop and I got this one on a deal, so I just started using this one. It's pretty great. I've had no problems with it either. Next is lemon oil. Now, contrary to belief, it is not made from lemons. It's just scented that way. It's not acidic to your fretboard. Don't think that. It's fine to use it. I spray it directly on or onto the cloth, but do make sure you have a separate cloth for lemon oil and a separate cloth for your actual polishing your guitar. This stuff, fairly cheap for a bottle of it. But around £15, and this has lasted me about 2 years now, I think. But only use this on dark fretboards. Okay, next, masking tape. This is very handy for if you don't have any of this stuff that I've shown you here. You can get fret erasers or steel wool, and you can use that to tidy up your frets a bit as well, masking off the guitar and parts, the pickups as well, for any steel wool that might come in. You don't have to have it, but it's very useful to have around for when you do need it. Next is this bad boy. This is a straight edge. This goes on the guitar and tells you whether your neck is bowed or inflated because you can rock it. And it actually sits, it's got 2 different scale lengths on it, one side and one side. You can actually just use a straight edge, like a block of straight wood that goes up the fretboard, or a sheet of metal like this, just to do that. Another thing that is really helpful, but not totally essential, is this little thing. It's a Hercules stand, and basically you can get these that have mats clipped to them, and you sit that on the desk, and the guitar sits across it really nicely, and it just elevates the neck up so you're not working on it flat on the bench. It's just really a lot easier to get at things, and it makes me personally, especially with a Gibson headstock, that I'm not resting it on that headstock. And when you're doing stuff like polishing the frets, you don't want to be putting pressure on that headstock because it's obviously quite a large tilt. So for me, this is a really important thing to be able to do, is to be able to maintain your own guitars and only go to things like, I can't do a full setup on mine, so I can't do a fret dress and crowning. That's something I would like to learn, but I can't do that yet. So for me, having all this here to be able to do the bare minimum setup, so adjust the bridge with the Allen keys. It's another thing I didn't mention. Set of Allen keys. Mine are in this little box, in a little box somewhere around here. They're in. They were with this box. These 2 boxes go together normally, but because I've moved, everything's got separated. So a small set of Allen keys to adjust any bridge screws that you've got. And that really helps, because you don't want to be running to a shop or going anywhere like that to do this sort of thing, to be like, oh guys, can you just can we just do this quick intonation for me? You can do that yourself with relatively no experience, and it'll be fine. You can learn how to do these things. So for me, that's a huge part of it, is being able to do do your own maintenance, because say you're on tour or something like that, you might not have a guitar tech, you might not have the money for a guitar tech. You've got to then change your strings, maintain those guitars, however many you're bringing, 1, 3, 5, you've got to maintain all those guitars on the tour yourself. So that's a huge part of keeping things running and making sure that you've got your guitars where they need to be at, and it'll keep them in good working order. You'll have less problems if you keep them cleaned a bit more, if you keep them maintained. String winder here, this is an early ball one, you can get a cheaper one as well. So that is it for this video, guys. This is a bit of a shorter video, a bit of a different video, just explaining my bare essentials for maintaining guitar. Obviously you don't need to do any of this, you can just take it to your music store and have it done, or you don't actually need to change your strings super often. You know, once every 3 months is fine, depending on how much you play the instrument and how badly your sweat deteriorates things on guitars. As I said, mine does deteriorate the strings very quickly. So if you do enjoy this type of video, please do let me know down below. If you think there's anything I missed out on this sort of survival kit of maintaining your guitars and everything, or you want me to go into any more detail on some of these things that I've been talking about here, changing the strings, oiling the fretboard, all that sorts of thing. I know there's a lot of videos on YouTube already for that, but I'm happy to do any of those videos if you guys would like that. Please do hit the like button if you did enjoy the video or you did learn something from it. And thank you very much for watching once again. Hit that subscribe button for some more content, and I'll see you guys in the next one.